Hitch. The movie begins with little explanation from a professional love matcher, Hitch, explaining that women fall in love in different ways and methods. This means that they are not hard to love, but one must learn their right love language, and any man can get to be with any woman of their dreams despite the difference in their tastes. As the introduction approaches its finish, he is out helping one man approach his dream girl for the first time by pretending to rescue her dog that she loves so much from being hit by a taxi vehicle. Hitch explains that any man can sweep any woman's feet only if they have the right broom, metaphorically. He goes ahead to explain to one of his clients that one must be themselves in order for the process to work. Further on, he tells them that at the stage they are at, they need not make impressions but not mess up the situation. To acquire the second date, these men have to ensure that they are physically attentive to the woman's interests and not just the lips. After the third date, a woman is expecting their first kiss, and that would be the judge of either a long-term relationship or the end of the road for both of them, and hence the 3 dates need to be at their best. Kindly hit the subscribe button to support this channel. We are met by Sarah, a gossip news writer and reporter on the phone. She is doing her usual morning routine of waking up and going to work, but first passing by a newspaper seller and acquiring one for herself. All this time she is on a call talking about how Allegra's husband cheated on her and now they are divorced as he was caught red-handed, which was a dumb thing to do. She reaches work and is asked about her trip as advised, but only she did it alone as Jeff tells her that she should have taken someone with her, which is the work of a boyfriend and not staying at the office all day. Walking around the office with Jeff, she explains that she does not have time for boyfriends as she meets up with her boss who wanted her out on a vacation at the beach for the next 4 days, but she came back early as she says something was urgent. Although her boss thinks that she is becoming a huge workaholic. Hitch is at the club with his friend playing pool when Ben mentions that he wishes Hitch would get someone and settle down just like him instead of flirting with girls just to have a good time. On the other side of the bar, Sarah is having a drink at the bar with her best friend when her best friend tells her that a guy hit on her while buying lingerie for his mother. Sarah thinks the lingerie was for another woman even when the best friend does not like the version of the explanation. Ben is drawn away by some ladies who enter the bar, and Hitch offers to go bring the ladies over. Ben is against it as he is married, but Hitch instead goes and gets the lady out of the crowd of men in a tactful way, and the lady likes it in the end. He goes ahead to explain to them that some men develop to a point where it's easy to get along with women, and women like them, although he was not always like that in high school. He was eager to make up for lost time. Hitch was one messy and shy guy while in high school. He met a girl, Cressida Baylor, as he dropped his book from his bag. They got together as a couple as he loved her obsessively. However, he once found her cheating on him with another man, leading to their breakup, seemingly that she was not in love with him. This led to the career he took on helping men without game get the girl of their dreams, such as Albert Brenneman. Albert is in his office and takes out a magazine from his drawer. He gets to the headlines, where Allegra, his crush, split with her husband. As he is stuck in time, he accidentally spills coffee on the paper as he now tries to air dry it. Hitch continues to explain that his work is 100% referral and thus cannot be traced, yet when one messes with fate it is bad. He has been referred to Albert, and they are arranged to meet. He stands at a distance first to observe Albert and is puzzled by his clumsiness of spilling and kicking over things by accident, leading to his low self-esteem. He immediately realizes that this client will be difficult to work with, but he's up for the challenge. Hitch approaches him as he tells him that he hopes that the girl Albert is interested in is single because he does not handle breakups. Albert goes ahead to explain that she recently got out of a relationship and that he works for her as the junior accounts assistant, and she does not know him nor know that he is interested in her. The only time they interacted was when he lent her his pen from behind as she needed one, asking the gentleman waiting on her. When Hitch realizes that Albert is talking about Allegra, who has a history of dating rich and exotic men, he is stunned. Albert had tried to talk himself out of the situation, being helped with Allegra Cole, but he feels hopeless. He thinks meeting Hitch was a stupid idea, but as he is about to leave, Hitch stops him, and after listening to his desperation, he is ready to work with him. Hitch gets on to do what he does best. He goes online and researches on Allegra and even follows her around to get to know what she is like. On this day, Allegra is having a meeting with her board members. Albert dresses up nicely, and he goes to the bathroom first while at work. He is nervous about the steps he has been advised to use, leading him to break the sink, and his pants get a little wet, and he takes them off. Hitch sends him a message that Allegra is in the elevator and takes out something from his pocket. He forgets his pants as he goes out, and he runs back to put them back on. At the conference hall, Allegra looks at her numbers and realizes that she is still rich. She requests $5,000 to invest on her own. Meanwhile, Albert's mind goes on a little tour of fantasy with him and Allegra on a trip, having a great time when he remembers the words of Hitch to be in the room and listen to what is going on. Allegra goes ahead to explain that she would like to be an investor in one of her friend's fashion design businesses. Pete, who leads the board of advisors, suggests that the board will present him a bunch of investment ideas to choose from in about a month. The room is silent as Albert remembers their objective with Hitch and excuses himself to talk. He stands up and with much emotion, tells Allegra that she should do what she wants with her money instead of asking permission to use her money from her advisors. He further explains that Allegra should be giving them advice, not the other way around. As Pete tries to silence Albert, he quits out of emotion and leaves the boardroom. At his office, Hitch is waiting and asks how it all went down. Albert explains he did as he was told and even quit his job. Realizing that he made a mistake quitting, he wanted to go back but Hitch held him down to calm him down. As they are struggling with each other, Allegra comes to look for him, and Hitch hides behind the door as Albert answers the knock. He stands there looking at her as Hitch directs him what to do, and Allegra explains why she was there, to appreciate him for what he did in the boardroom and asking him if they would get together as he agreed to check his schedule rather than be too obvious by saying yes as advised. Hitch later is at his favorite bar, and he notices Sarah, the reporter, sitting alone on the couch. He asks about her and picks the drink to give her when another man beats him to reach her. He sits at a distance listening to the conversation as Sarah blows the guy off but would not go, and Hitch finds an opportunity to help her and scares the guy away. They sit there, talk about themselves in the third person, and before the conversation gets interesting, Hitch leaves, and a waiter brings over a drink to Sarah, bought by Hitch. She is somehow impressed, and Hitch is away before she could even thank him. Right then, Sarah's friend arrives and drinks the martini Sarah was given. It is another day, and Hitch goes to meet another client, but he is out of there because the man just wants to sleep with the woman he is interested in rather than develop a relationship. Meanwhile, Hitch sends a delivery to Sarah at the office of a walkie-talkie as he persists on a date, and they agree to meet on Sunday. They meet at a shore and take motorboats. They race each other, and as Hitch's boat runs out of gas, they use Sarah's to get to the museum. The soldier gives them a private tour when they get to where there is a book of her great-great-grandfather appears. She starts to cry and runs out, and when they get talking later, she explains to them that he was not a good person. Hitch is off to help Albert, and they call Allegra and set a date for them to meet for a fashion show that night. She agrees, and he follows through with each step except where he dances and a picture is taken. The photo is posted in the magazine, and Hitch is not happy about it as he comes to tell Albert that they are working for the first kiss that every woman anticipates. Albert is taught a little art of the first kiss and expectations. Sarah researches on Albert, coming to realize that the ticket used to get to the fashion show was for Hitch, and she calls him in order to get more information. They go to a cooking class where Sarah feeds him some food, and he ends up getting an allergic reaction, and they rush to the store and get some medicine. He ended up sleeping at her place. Sarah wakes up the next morning to find him gone, and while blaming herself for being stupid, he shows up with breakfast. They prepare and head out as she goes to work and kisses him before leaving. Her friend informs her that the lingerie guy just wanted to sleep with her as she used it to get information from him. Hitch calls Sarah to set another date while Albert is being waxed on his back. Later, he takes Allegra to watch a game, and they have a good time. As he escorts her home, he is scared at first to kiss her but instead conquers his fears, and they end up kissing. Hitch is set up, and Sarah realizes that what Hitch does for work is connect people together. As she had dinner planned with him, she goes to his place to confront him, and Hitch receives her, but what happens later he did not expect that she had known. She leaves him, and the following day she publishes him on the front page of the magazine and not positively. Albert sees the magazines and trashes the shop, getting him arrested as everything goes sideways for Hitch. He shows up at a dating speed event Sarah went to with her friend, trying to explain himself, but Sarah does not hear any of it, but her friend believes Hitch is a good person. Hitch is devastated, and so is Sarah as she cries out watching a movie. A week later, she goes and apologizes to him, but he does not want to be involved anymore. He is clearing his office when Albert visits him for him to try to bring Allegra back, but after a little conversation, Albert realizes that Hitch does not believe in his own advice and he leaves. Hitch calls Allegra for a meeting and explains everything as she realizes that Hitch only created an opportunity for her to recognize him but everything else was all Albert. Albert arrives to get his love back to find Hitch hugging Allegra and tries to choke him when she explains that he was there on his behalf and they kiss. Excited, he runs off to get Sarah back in his life. He tries to talk to Sarah about how much he loves her and wants to be with her, but she does not hear any of it, and she continues to leave. He follows her, talking out his feelings to her and even jumps on the car and runs over to the front. She ends up listening to him as they get back together. Later on his job, Hitch helps Casey get a man through a gentleman's grandmother who pretends to choke near Casey and she saves her. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe for more entertainment.